Hi guys, I'm going to do a little impromptu Q&A today and answer some of the questions that I've been asked on Instagram. Alright, the first question is, how do you manage feeling overwhelmed? Well, my cure-all for everything is walking in nature. That is my number one, most healing, most therapeutic, most rejuvenating thing that I do is walking in nature. It seems to solve anything, or at least make things a little bit better. I find that walking in nature really helps me to clear my mind. It helps me to gain a new perspective on things. If you're going through something stressful, maybe, dealing with the relationships or friendships or work or whatever it may be, feeling overwhelmed, then I find that walking in nature helps me to kind of gain that clear perspective, kind of almost taking a pause from your day-to-day life. And there's just such a sense of calm and peace in nature. And I really like the quote. It goes something along the lines of, in nature, nothing is rushed, yet everything gets done. Something along the lines of that. I'll find that quote for you and share it with you in the description box. Nature just has this feeling that is the opposite of feeling rushed. It just is. And the fresh air combined with walking, moving your body, I find that no matter what I'm going through, if I can just take a segment out of my day and go and walk in nature, I come back and I feel that I am refreshed. And so that's something that I definitely recommend. Also, for feeling overwhelmed, I think being honest with how you're feeling. Generally when I feel overwhelmed, it's because I'm suppressing emotions. Maybe I've taken too much on my plate, or I'm confused about something, or I'm upset about something and I'm holding in those feelings. And I find, after a while, if you're bottling too many feelings up, eventually you're gonna feel an inner agitation and frustration, and you're like, I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm feeling unhappy. And I find that being able to really express your emotions, let it all out, tends to bring with it a feeling of release and of relief. So definitely get your feelings out. If you have a close friend, I don't really believe in over-venting and dwelling on things, but definitely let them out at least once. Let those feelings and emotions out, and just ask, if you have a close friend that you feel comfortable with expressing your inner feelings, just say, do you mind if, I let these feelings out, because I really have all these emotions I want to get out. Also on paper, I find that when I'm feeling overwhelmed, it can be that I have so many ideas and so many things that I want to do, or so many different thoughts, but they're not organized in my mind, if that makes sense. And so it just feels like there's a lot going on in my mind. And sometimes writing things out, if you're going through, a problem or something frustrating, when you write it out, it can kind of give you a sense of relief, because you're like, okay, well, that's not really as challenging as I thought it was. Now seeing it written on paper, I can start to kind of come up with potential solutions for what I've been going through. And it kind of helps you with problem solving. Writing it out helps you see things more clearly, and maybe things that you were super stressed about, once you see them out on paper, you can kind of see how you can put together an action plan, and that maybe things aren't as overwhelming as they felt when you kept them inside. Also, I think simplifying can really help with overwhelm. Identifying what's most important, because sometimes you have good intentions and you want to take on a bunch of different projects. You want to take on, say yes to every invitation that you receive, say yes to everything, and when people ask you for help, you just say yes. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I've got so much on my plate and I feel overwhelmed. So taking a moment to just identifying one or a few things that you want to prioritize, that you want to focus on for the moment, and that can kind of help to relieve some of that overwhelm as well. So I hope that helps to answer your question, and that you find those tips to be helpful for you. I have some of my tea. I'm drinking valerian root tea. Funny thing about this tea is the tea bags smell disgusting, but the tea tastes good. It's a really weird paradox, but it's true. All right, next question. How long have you been trying to better yourself, and when did you start noticing changes because of it? That's a great question. I don't know if there was definitely like one moment where I just thought, okay, now I'm really into self-improvement and, personal development. But I do remember learning about The Secret and watching the movie The Secret with my mom. She introduced me to it, and being really, really fascinated by that. So whatever year that came out, that's probably in my mind where I really remember being fascinated with the idea that thoughts create things. The law of attraction really fascinated me, and I just remember being, hungry for information, and I just wanted to learn more, and I just thought, wow, what a concept that, your thoughts create your feelings, which create the life that you experience, and how your expectations can actually bring things into reality in your life. And so I was definitely very fascinated with that idea, and I still am. As far as when did I notice changes in my life from working on personal development, I would say I'm always learning and always growing and always noticing improvements and changes in myself. But something that highlights those changes when I know that I've really grown and made a positive change is when I experience something, usually a challenge, and I feel that I handle it well, and I think back to myself maybe 5-10 years ago and think, okay, back then I dealt with a similar situation and I felt that I handled it very poorly, and I was overwhelmed by it, or I was, whatever it may be. And then now I look at how I deal with a similar situation and I'm just thinking, okay, wow, I've really grown, I've matured, I've learned. And so when I say that problems and obstacles are stepping stones, it's true, because that's how I see them in my own life. When I look at some of the decisions I made in the past that I don't think were necessarily the best, and now I look at the same type of situation and look at the decisions that I make now in that area of life, I can definitely see the change. And in your own life, this might be interesting to kind of take a look at. For example, maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago, if someone gave you $1,000, you would go and spend it all and then feel bad later. Oh no, why did I, spend all that money so quickly and not really think about how I should best put that money to use, like saving some of it. And so, but today, maybe if someone gave you $1,000, maybe your decisions with that money would be different. And so that's where you can see the improvement. That's where you can see the growth. If you hadn't made that other choice in the past, then you wouldn't really see the improvement today. And so that's kind of how I look at it. And also, to kind of elaborate on the answer to your question, I don't really feel like there's going to be this one time where I'm just like, like everything is just, I've conquered everything in life and I'm just this amazing person in every single aspect of life. I know that it's all about growth, and it's, once you've overcome one thing, then you're focused on something else. And that's the exciting thing of life. I never want to stop learning. I never want to stop growing. I never want to stop improving and setting new goals, setting new targets for myself. And I think that's a really exciting thing about life. That was a really good question. Okay, this question comes from the Canary Islands. 3 things you like about yourself and 3 things you don't like about yourself. Favorite movies and why. Have a nice day. Thank you. Okay, so 3 things I like about myself. Let's start with that. I like that I'm open-minded. I am open to other people's perspectives. I'm open to new perspectives. I'm flexible in my thinking. I like that. I like that, I think that helps me learn, because I don't believe that my way is the only way and that I already know that. I don't need to learn that anymore. I'm always willing to hear a new perspective, to hear a new idea. And yeah, so that's something that I like, that open-mindedness. I think traveling a lot early in life helped me with that. I saw that there were so many different people in the world with different ideas, different beliefs, different perspectives, and I like that. That's something that I definitely do like about myself. Okay, another thing I like about myself is that I am a good appreciator. Like, I really appreciate a lot of things, and I feel like I'm good at vocalizing them as well. So if I like something in a person, I don't keep that in. Like if I think someone is really funny, I'll just tell them, you know, I think you're really funny. Or, you know, I'm not shy about saying like, I love what you're wearing. Or, you know, I really like being around you. I feel happy when I'm around you. Like, I'm not afraid to say that. And I like to share that, and I like to make people feel good. And, you know, even with nature, like I try to savor the moment. I try to appreciate things. When I see a beautiful flower, I take the time and I just say, wow, look at that. It's stunning. It's so beautiful. And so I think I'm a really good appreciator. And so if appreciator is a word, then that's something I like about myself. I'm a good appreciator. I also like my optimism. I like that I have really developed, and I would call it a skill, the skill of looking for the bright side in everything. And the reason that I think optimism is a skill is that the more you do it, the better you get at it. And, you know, the more you look for things to enjoy and to be happy about, the more there is in life to be happy about. And so I like my optimism. Okay, so 3 things that I would like to improve upon about myself. Okay, one, I'll say a habit, interrupting people. When I do it, as soon as I do it, I hear myself doing it and I just think, oh, why did I do that? Like, you know, I find it to be quite rude, and I don't know why I do it. I guess I get excited and, you know, I want to share my ideas as well, but I just find that it's really like something that I want to improve upon. I don't like to be an interrupter. I want to have the respect for other people and actually stop and listen to what other people have to say in conversations, but I find that the more excited I am about something, that I tend to interrupt, and I just don't like it. Okay, another thing that I want to improve upon is being able to accept help. I don't think that I've ever been really good at this, to be accepting of people's help without feeling like I owe them something. And you know, when someone just wants to help you and they're not expecting anything in return, I have this sense of like, okay, well, I'll make it up to you. Thanks so much for doing this to me. And I want to learn to be a better receiver and just say, okay, thank you. Let people help me. I'm comfortable with helping other people, but when other people want to help me, I am not so strong in that area yet. So I definitely want to improve upon that. And the third thing is I want to get better at being vulnerable. I think being vulnerable is a really beautiful quality. I think it's really important in relationships and friendships, in everything really. And I find that with myself I can be vulnerable, if that makes sense. Like, I'll be honest with myself with how I feel, but with other people I find that it's hard to be vulnerable. And I definitely like to, I guess because I'm an optimist, I definitely always want to focus on the good. And so when there are times where being vulnerable is necessary, I think that that's kind of a challenging part for me. So I won't say that those are things that I don't like about myself, because I wouldn't phrase things that way, but those are things that I want to improve upon. Good question. And favorite movies. I can't just choose one, but I like movies that have the theme of someone overcoming limitations, because that's just like this topic of my life. I'm just really fascinated with people who overcome limitations. I really liked the movie Gattaca, if you ever saw it. It was with Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. I mean, this is going back to when I think maybe I was 12 years old. I got really into that movie. I like the movie Under the Tuscan Sun. I've shared that. I just watched The Holiday with my mom for the billionth time. Like that movie. Bridget Jones' Diary, of course. What other movies do I love? I don't know, but maybe I'll do a video. Maybe I'll think about that and write a list and then share my favorite movies. What are your favorite movies? If you have a recommendation for me, put it in the description box down below, and maybe I'll check it out and then I'll have a new favorite movie. All right, on to the next. People asking if Alex and I want to get married and have kids. Yes and yes. And are we still planning on moving to Phoenix? Yes, we are still planning on moving. We're very much looking forward to it, and it's coming up very soon. So I'm just enjoying every day here in British Columbia because I've loved living here. It's just some of the most beautiful nature that I've ever seen and the freshest air, and it's a really beautiful place with so many beautiful trails and so much gorgeous nature. So I love that. Okay. All right, advice for new vegans and book recommendations. I haven't really read any new books on veganism lately, but my advice is to follow your own instincts. I think when it comes to health and nutrition in general and fitness and anything really, there are so many people who have good intentions, but just totally different advice from other people. And it can be very confusing when you have all of these different ideas and, people who are convincing you to do different things, that it can get confusing. So trust your own instincts, trust your own body. And that's how I live my life. I take the info that other people give me, and what feels right, I do that. I'll try something. But I don't trust what they say over my own instincts and override what I believe is right. So follow your own heart always, and you can't really go wrong. All right, guys, well, thank you for watching this Q&A. Thank you for the great questions that you guys asked. All right, I'm gonna finish my tea, and I'm getting hungry, so I'm gonna go make some lunch. And I'm probably gonna go for another walk because I've been talking about nature walks so much in this video that it's making me wanna go on another one. I will see you guys in my next video, and until then, I hope you have a beautiful day.